So before starting, we need to have a URL first of all, the URL where Fedina will be hosted for us. And then, so in my case, it's deepball.fedina.org. So in your case, you'll be having something different. On going to this URL, you will be able to get this dashboard which says the username and password are to be entered. So basically, there are four kinds of user in Fedina: the admin user, the parent user, the employee user, and the student user. So when it comes to the student or the parent, the set of privileges or the rights or the authority that they have is fixed up. But when it comes to the privileges for the admin or the employee, the privileges are not fixed. So employee can enjoy a varied set of privileges based upon the task that he or she is performing. And then the admin, as we know, is the sole has the sole privilege of everything. So we will be just going upon in the admin credentials and looking upon what do we have in store for us using the admin credentials. So let's get started here by typing the admin credentials as admin. So the default password for the admin would be admin123 and the username would obviously be admin then. So on entering the correct credentials, you will be able to see a screen which looks something like this. So the first thing that we would like to let you know is about the Manage Dashlets. So Manage Dashlets is the latest inclusion or the addition of Fedina 3.0 version. So let's go to the Manage Dashlets and see what we can do here. So on clicking Manage Dashlets, there comes a drop down box or a screen pops up in between which asks you to check upon some of the checkboxes available here. So based upon the selection that you do, information regarding them would be coming back to you. So it's a kind of consolidated data that you will be getting up for all of your items that you choose up here. May it be the absent students, so you'll be able to get the absent students for the day, or is it about the admin students, so you'll be getting the all the admin students for a day, and you can even scroll in and around the particular dates to see the results of the same. So on making our selections and on hitting the save button, your dashlets will be updated. So if I want to know the income and expenses done for today, so I'll be able to get this from a dashlet. So moreover, these dashlets come up with a minimize button, a close button, and a reload button. So in case you see that this finance has been updated at some point of time by using some other systems or some other user, you will be able to get the updated result about the same in this once you have refreshed it. So again, as I said, like each of these dashlets can be crossed out. So what all dashlets you do not need it can be crossed out from here. So and they can even be dragged and dropped here to fit into the desired place. So the next thing would be to go to the quick links. So quick links can be accessed by using the first tab only. You will be able to see the quick links part. So quick links is some sort of the recent or the frequently used items that you would like to have on your drop down. So let us suppose that you would like to have all these items like the applicant registration, attendance, custom reports and so on. So if you want to choose what all items do you want to have in your quick links part or the frequently used tab, so you need to choose upon all these available items up here and then hit the submit button. So on hitting the submit button, the quick links will be modified as you have thought of as per selection made. That's how the quick links can be updated. So the next thing that we will be going to do is the settings part. So basically whenever it comes to the using up of the application, we are well aware of the fact that we need to do a bit of settings every time. So to do so, first of all, we need to go to this administration tab and then click upon settings. So on settings, we need to start off with the general settings. So let's click upon general settings first of all. you need to type the name of the school and college name, the school or college address. So basically what we do in general settings is we make the application know what our institution is all about. Maybe it's about the school or college name or school or college address and so on. So further we need to enter the school or college phone number, and then you need to make it selection about the attendance type. So based upon attendance type that you have been using up in your institution, so the attendance can be daily or it can be subject wise at times. So based upon the attendance type you have chosen up, the system will be aligned to it. So the next thing would be to enter the financier start date and the financier end date. So here if you are using the financier start and financier end date part, you will be able to uh, get a track of the current fiscal year or the academic year. The next thing would be to enter the starting receipt number. So starting receipt number is a place where you will be able to, excuse me, so where you will be able to enter the receipt number of the first receipt that will be generated from the application. So like let us suppose that the receipt number of the first receipt that is generated from the application is KA01. The corresponding receipt numbers would be, or the subsequent receipt numbers would be KA02, KA03 and so on. So these receipt numbers will be used up in all the financial transactions that you will be using up. The next thing would be to go to this language part and make a selection of your desired language. May it be English, German, or what all that we are in need of. So Farina comes in all 16 languages like Dutch, Spanish, English, Portuguese, French and so on. So you can even make a choice of all of them. And then the country name. So the country name that you are in is to be entered up here. So I would be entering up my country name here. And then the currency type. So the currency type that you want, or the in which the financial transactions can be held up, are to be entered up here. And then we have this precise and count, where the entered precise and count will be used up for all the financial transactions that we will be doing up. So let us suppose that the present count is 2. So the system won't allow any decimal digits after 2 decimal precision. So that's what we mean when we use the precise and count part. The next thing would be to go to the upload logo, where you'll be able to upload the logo of the school. So let us suppose you have a logo and you want to have it in all the receipts that will be generated from the application. So to do so, you need to click upon the choose file part from here and choose the logo that you have from your institute. So, and please note that all the logo that you will be uploading up here will be available in the login page, the logout page, and in all the PDFs that will be generated from the application. So then again we have this grading system. So grading system can be CC, CWA, GP and so on. So the required grading system is to be chosen up, and then we have this Moodle URL where you will be able to integrate Fedina to your Moodle account by just entering up the URL from here. So the next thing is the select theme. So Fedina is available in all exciting themes like orange, dark blue, black, green, yellow, blue and gray. So you can choose any of the themes up from here, and then the enable auto increment student admission number is the place which will allow you to enable the enable the student admission number automatically. So just let us suppose that the first student who will get admitted into your application, or who will be getting admitted into the institution, and whose data is getting recorded up here, will be having an admission number of S1. So the subsequent students will be having S2, S3, S4, S5 and so on. So that's how the auto increment student admission number works up. So the next thing is the enable auto increment employee number. So the same thing which goes for the student admission number is also applicable for employee number if the checkbox is ticked up here. The next thing is the enable news comment moderation, which allows the admin to moderate a comment that comes up from every news that is published. So if you are enabling this option, the admin will be able to moderate every comment. He will, if he chooses, he can publish it. If he doesn't, he can opt not to publish the same comment. So the next thing is the enable sibling, where you'll be able to keep a track of the data of the siblings. So like, let us suppose if there are two siblings, so if you will be able to connect these two siblings so that you need not to enter the parent detail of the other sibling who's getting entered into the application at a later period. Then we have this enable first time login change password, which will ask the users to change the password when they log into Fedina for the first time. And then we have this enable OAuth, which will allow the user to log into Fedina using their Google account. So that is all about how this general settings works up. So the next thing would be to go to the rest part of the settings and see what all we have in store for us. So let's go to this manage student category. So manage student category is a link where you'll be able to categorize your students into different categories. Like let us suppose you want to have a category called local, so you just need to type the name local in the text box provided up here, and then you will be able to create a new category like local, and it will be available in the table here. So moreover, each of these categories can be edited at any point of time. So then once we have made these categories, it will be available while we are making a student admission. So the next thing would be to go to the admission additional detail, where you will be able to add some additional admission details for the student. So while using Fedina's admission process, you will be coming across all the fields that you need to do. But apart from the one, if you want to have some more fields which are more relevant to your institution, like the admission agent that helps you to get students into it, or the passport number of the student. So to have such information, you need to have some additional details, and we should be accompanied with the preferred input method, whether it is text box or text area or select box or checkbox. So you need to type the create button from here. By typing the name and the create button, you will be able to create an additional detail just like this. So that was all about how you can create an additional detail and so on. So now let's get moved to the managed course or batch, where we will be able to create some courses or batches in which we can admit our students in. So to create some courses, you need to go to manage courses from here and then tap the new button. So on clicking new, you'll be able to enter the course name. So if you want to enter a course name with the name of, let us suppose, grade 9, and you can opt to give a section name, or you cannot even opt to have a section name also. Then you need to type a code name mandatorily, then the batch details. So the first batch from this grade 9 is 2014, so you need to type the initial details as A 2014, and the course name should be grade 9, code G9, and the grading system can be normal, GPS, CW, and CC based upon your choice. So on hitting save button, you will be able to create a course which says grade 9 having the code as G9. You can even edit any of your courses by just going to this particular course and hitting the edit button there. So that is all about how you can create a course and a batch in it. Further, at any point of time, if you would like to create some more batches into this, so you can again go to that particular uh, course and click upon it to add some batches in it. So let us suppose the one that we created here is grade 9, So you need to click upon the particular course, and then from the new button here, you will be able to add some more batches into here. So the first that we created was A 2014. So the next, if you want to create it something like B 2014, we have an option of entering the started and end date, which is followed by importing above the previous batch subject. So let us suppose A 2014 was a batch which has some subjects. So you have some subjects entered into it, and you had some master fees entered into it. So you will be able to import those subjects and master fees into this batch again, so that you need not to create the master fees or the subjects for this batch just the way you have done for A 2014. So that's all about how we will be able to create some courses and batches. So now let's plunge in the manage subject link, where we'll be able to know how a subject can actually be added into a batch. So to add a subject into a batch, you need to select the batch from here by using the select a batch button, and then we have two kinds of subjects. So subjects can either be normal subject or it can be elective subject. So to add a normal subject, you need to go to this add normal subject here, type the name and then the code, and then the maximum weekly classes that this batch can undertake. So, and then on hitting the save button, you will be able to create a new subject. But if at all, if you want to create a new elective group and you want to stuff subjects into it, so you need to type the name of the elective group here. So once it's typed up here, it will be available. Once it's typed up here, it will be available in the manage subject link, or the link that we have set it here. So moreover, if you want to add some more elective subjects or some more subjects into this into a particular elective group, you can click upon this and use this add button to keep on adding more and more subjects into it. So once this is added, so foreign language is the one that I created some time ago, and if you want to create some more students or assign the students to one of these subjects, you need to just click upon assign, and on hitting the assign button, these students will be assigned. Further, we have this assign all or remove all to assign or remove students at a go respectively. That was all about this settings part. So finally, we are left with the last part of the settings, which is called the SMS module. So SMS module comes up with these SMS settings. First of all, please note that we need to have an SMS third-party vendor to regulate all our SMS details. So once we have configured all of our SMS account, we'll be all ready to send SMS from our application. So prior to that, we need to make a bit of settings up from here. So we need to enable the application from here, and then on clicking the update button, you will be able to enable the SMS application for Fedina. Then the next thing would be to click upon student admission. So whether it's student admission or is it the exam schedule. So whenever a student is admitted, an automatic SMS would be going up to all the students and the parents. Same thing would happen when an examination has been scheduled or the result has been published up. And again, if a ward is absent, the parent and the student will get an SMS stating that your ward is absent, who belongs to this and this batch with the name this. So again, whenever we are going to schedule an event for it, then again the respective members will be getting an event notification on their phone via an SMS. So again, the next options like the SMS to parents, students and employees suggest that we will be able to send SMS to parents, students and employees respectively. So having done all this, now let's go to this SMS thing to know what all we have in store. So like the send SMS to students helps you to send SMS to students from a batch. So all you need to do, just select a batch from here, and then you'll be getting a list of all students. So you need to click upon the student's name here and then type the SMS which is to be sent. The same thing would happen if you would use this send SMS to batches, where you need to just select the batch to which the SMS has to be sent. Then the send SMS to employees and employee departments helps you to send SMS to employees and employee departments respectively. And again, all the SMS sent can be viewed up or can monitored using this SMS logs. And again, we have the send SMS to all, which will help you to send SMS to all the members in the application. So that is all about how SMS can be configured up. So now let's go to the rest part of the webinar, and we will be cruising upon to the students part, where we'll be able to admit some students into it. So let's admit some students into the application to know how it can be done first of all. So to again, I would like to show you that the students link will be available in the academics tab, and then on clicking student admission from students link, you will be able to land into a page where you will be able to add some students into a particular batch. So to add a student, let us suppose I want to add a student with the name John, and then you need to type the course and batch, the date of birth, and again the blood group, whether the required blood group is to be entered up here, the corresponding blood group, and then the rest of the details have to be entered up. So since it's a part of demo, we won't be showing you all of it, but we recommend our users to enter all the data like the contact details, the settings, the enable SMS feature, whether the SMS feature or email features are required for this user or not. So you can select all up from here and then hit upon the save and proceed after entering up the user photo. So you need to enter up the user photo if you want to have the same while fetching data. So that is all about how this thing can be done. So the next thing would be to go to this save and proceed part and go to this step 2 of admission. So as I mentioned it earlier, like we will be able to add our sibling data. So all the students who have this siblings, or at least if this particular student who is getting admitted into this application, if at all he or she has a sibling, then we will be able to connect him to his siblings, and so the user won't be asked to enter the parent data again and again. So using this, the other benefit that we'll be getting is like a particular parent will be able to log into a single account, and then he'll be able to switch on the desired account of his desired ward. So the next thing after entering the sibling would be to enter the, if at all you are skipping the sibling part, you need to enter the parent details. You can even click here to skip. So the next thing would be to enter the previous education details of the student. You can even skip the same. So since the student that is getting admitted is getting admitted after these collections or the fee collections has been made, so you need to select upon the fee collection of here and assign this fee collection that is required to him. This can also be done in a later part also. So the next thing would be to enter up all the additional details that you have created for the reference of your institution, and then that would complete the process of admission for a student. So that's basically how the students can be admitted into the application. So having admitted all the students into the application, the next step would be to fetch data regarding the same. So to fetch data, again you need to go to the student details from the students link down from the academics tab, and then just click upon the name of the student. So based upon the details that you will be putting up here, the name you will be putting up here, the best possible matches will be available, and you will be able to get the similar name students. So you need to select upon this list the desired student to get the detail of the same. So this was all about how these students can be fetched up. So furthermore, we have this advanced search where you will be able to get some more parameters for your search. So let's suppose if you want to get a search of all the persons who belong to B positive, So just click upon B positive and then the search button. This will get you the results of all the persons who have B positive blood group. That's all about how this admission can be searched up. So the next thing would be to go to this administration tab and click upon this user, where you will be able to make some changes in the privileges of all your employees. Like let us suppose you want to change the privileges of an employee with the name of Samson, and then on clicking Samson you will be able to change the password of the employee, view his or her profile, and even edit the privileges. So if the person who is to be added has this, or is a person who belongs to the library department, or he or she is a librarian, so you can give the required privileges to that particular person. So basically the task that he or she has to undertake, you can even give the privileges for him so that he or she will be able to view only those limited parts that are allowed for him to be accessed. So that was all about this user part. So now let's go to the HR part and learn what we can have in the HR part. So the HR part starts off with the human resource module. Just like any other module, we need to do a bit of settings for this too. Just click upon settings and you'll be able to add employee categories, add employee positions, add employee department, and add employee grades also. So basically whenever you are making some employee categories, we will be able to create some um, divisions or some parts in which we'll be able to categorize all of our employees, just the way we do it for our students. So further, in each of these categories we have a place where we'll be able to add some positions. So the positions is one level deep into this category. So here you need to type the position up here and then the category into which this particular position comes up in, and then on clicking the create button, that particular position will be created and will be available in the table up there. So the next thing would be to go to this employee department and to create some departments. Like if you want to categorize all of your employees into some kind of department, maybe the academics, maybe the agriculture, or maybe biology or chemistry. So you need to type up a department from here and the department code, and then on hitting the create button you'll be able to create a department. So similarly you can even create some grades for your employees. So the next or the most important part of the HR settings is this add payroll category. So on clicking add payroll category, you will be able to create some basic payroll categories for all of your employees. So you might be having some basic pay or a Christmas bonus or something like that. So some of the basic categories like TA and DA can be created up from here, and you can even create some category which are some percentage of one pre-created category or the another. So like let us suppose I have this bonus here, and or let me go to some other bonus to showcase you. So as a bonus created here, here we have this Diwali bonus, and the percentage is 15% of the basic pay, and it's active. So this would mean that every time a basic pay is given of 10,000, let us suppose, so 1,500 would be the basic pay allotted for every employee. So we will be having further information about it while we will be going to admit an employee into this application. So that is all about this add payroll category thing. So further you can even add some additional details, that's the way we have done for the students, and you will also be able to add some bank details for your students or for your employees, sorry. So the next thing would be to go to this employee management and add an employee to see how actually an employee can be admitted into our institution. So let's click upon employee admission there, and then type the name of the first name of the employee. So the first name of the employee might be someone like Gary, and then the middle name and the gender name has to be entered up here. So you need to select upon this department, academics, the category and the position. So you need to say have a category where you do have a position up here. So in this particular category we have a position, and then the next thing would be to hit upon the save and proceed. After entering up all the details, then you'll be able to go to the step 2 of admission, where you'll be asked to enter the home address, the office address and the contact details of this particular employee. So just enter all the details, save and proceed, and then you need to enter these bank details as the step 3 of employee admission. So here you need to enter all the additional details just the way we did it for the student details, and then comes the most important part of the employee admission, that's the setting up of the privilege. Let us suppose the person who is getting admitted into this application, Gary, is a person who is actually a librarian. So you can click upon the librarian status, and on hitting the save button, Gary will only be able to use the librarian data, and he will be having access to all the librarian data. So again, the next thing of employee admission would be to enter up a reporting manager. So every time student an employee applies for a leave or something, so it's the reporting manager who has to either approve it or reject it. So we need to enter up the reporting manager as a mandatorily. Let us suppose the person to which Gary needs to report is Surya Kumari, and we need to click upon this name so that it would come up here right after typing this from here, and then on hitting the save and proceed button, you will be able to get redirected to the last page of the payroll, or last page of all the employee admission. So here we need to enter up the basic pay of the employee. So all the categories that you have created up from the all the payroll categories that you have created up from the HR settings would be quite useful here in this add payroll category thing. And then you need to type just the basic pay, and the rest of the things, as I said, like it's being set up as a percentage of the basic pay, so it will get calculated of its own. So based upon the percentage that you've entered up here, it will be coming up, and then on hitting the finish button, you will be able to see the profile of the employee. So that's basically how an employee can be admitted into the application. So the next thing would be to go to this employee subject association. So having created some employees into this application for real, you would like to assign classes to this employee. So to assign classes to the employee, you need to go to employee management, click upon employee subject association, and again in employee subject association, we map a particular employee to teach a particular subject in the required batch. So let us suppose for this batch 10th A 2013, and to teach biology I have 3 teachers already. So if I want to add some more teachers to it, I just can go to the particular department here. In case if I have some student or employees from this particular department, I need to select up a department from here, and then on assigning it to the particular student, this will be coming up in the list from here. So similarly, you can add some more subjects or some more teachers, or assign some more teachers to teach some subject or the other in a particular batch. So that's the way how the employee subject association works up. The next thing would be to go to this employee leave management and check upon what all we have in regarding the employee attendance and leave. So when it comes to employee attendance and leave, we have this add leave types, where we will be able to add some leaves for all of our employees. So let us suppose the leave types that we want to create is CL, ELs and so on, something like that. So you need to create upon the leave name, the leave code, and then the maximum leave count. So again, a CL can be something like this. So leave name, so leave code CL, the maximum leave count 25, and on enable carry forward, the leaves that are balanced for this particular period will be carried forward to the next period. Then we have this attendance register where we will be able to mark some of these employees as absent or present. So in this department academics, we do have a lot of employees whose attendance can be marked up. So you can go to the particular person or the particular date in which you want to mark someone as absent. Let us suppose you want to mark someone as absent on 26th of March. You can click upon the particular cell, and then there would pop up a light box which would ask you to enter the reason for absence. So you can type the reason for the same and then select the leave type, whether it's CL or EL, and then on hitting the submit button, you will be able to mark that particular person as absent for the required date. So that's basically how this attendance. The next thing would be to go to this attendance, excuse me, and then click upon the department like academics. So here you will be able to see the reports for this particular department. So like let us suppose you want to see the report for this academics, and Anthony is the one who has taken his 6 CLs and his total leave is upon 6 now. So similarly you can view the leave reports for all other employees, and then you have an option to reset the leaves for all of your employees. Again, before resetting leaves, you need to click upon this leave reset setting, where you need to type the reset period, and then the count begin date from which period it should start counting upon, and then on clicking enable automatic reset, the system will automatically reset the leave types, all the leave types for your employees from this date after every 4 months. Similarly, you can use this reset all, department reset, and individual reset to reset the leave types as a whole, or as a department wise, or individually for each of this employee. So the next big thing in HR would be this create payslip. So before getting into this payslip, I would just like to let you know, like whenever it comes to payslip, this is basically a two-way process where the person who's in charge of finance. So again, as I've said, like the employees can be given any one of these tasks. So let's suppose that you have an employee in specialized to handle tasks in finance. So the person who's in charge of human resources or the HR basically has to create it, and then the HR of finance either do it or reject it. So click on create payslip to apply for a payslip for any of your employees. This employee which will be from HR would label all of your employees like that. But apart from the one, if you want to create some more, you'll be able to do so by clicking upon this add individual category and then typing the name and the amount of which it should be entered up. So on hitting the create button again, you'll be able to create this payslip. So this is the way how you'll be able to create some payslips for all of your employees or individual basis basically. Again, if you want to create payslips for all of your employees at a go, you can click upon one click payslip generator to click upon the payslips. And again, if you feel that it was a mistake that you've committed and you want to revert back the whole process, we have this one click payslip revert back to the last payslip that is generated from here. And again, this rejected employees would be giving you the list of all the employees whose payslip has been rejected by the person who is in charge of finance. Again, we are left with two more options in the HR, where you'll be able to make an employee search. So just the way we have the student search, we also do have this viewer and advanced search for employees also. You can even type the name of the employee and you'll be able to get the list just the way we did it from for the student search. So that was all about this HR settings. So now let's go to this timetable module and see how this timetable can be altered or how this timetable can be made basically. So again, to access the timetable, you need to go to this academics tab, click upon timetable and start off with the create weekday. So basically whenever it comes to timetable, it is a workflow where we need to create weekdays for our batches, then set class timings or allot class timings for each of our batches, then you will be able to create a timetable and then you can even edit or view it after it. So let's start off with the creating up of the weekdays. So we need to click upon create weekdays and select the batch to which you want to set the weekdays for. So just select the batch from here and select the date and hit the save, select the days and hit the save button. This way you will be able to create the weekdays for all of your batches. Again, this can be done common to all of the batches. Like let us suppose you are selecting common, you'll be able to get these selected weekdays as common to every batch in this institution. The next thing would be to go to the set class timings. So you can go to the set class timings link and then this class timing sets where you'll be able to create some class timings. So basically you need to create some class timings up from here, and then once you create a class timing set, it will be available in this table here. So once you have created a class timing set, you need to create some class timings for this class timing set created. So again, you need to click upon class timing from there, and then you will be able to get this add button where the name, the start time and the end time of this class timing set can be updated. So similarly, you can create some different periods for this class timing set, like this assembly period 1, period 2 and so on. So that's basically how you can have some class timing sets and enter some class timings into it. So once you have entered this class timing set, you can allot this class timing set that you have created just now to any of these batches that you have in the institution. So let us suppose you want to add this 1A 2013 to this class timing set that's available here. So just select this particular date from here and use this corresponding arrow button to assign this 1A 2013 to have this class timing set G7. So that's basically how this class timing set and the class timings can be maintained. So let's create a timetable for you, and we will be able to see how this performs here. So again, on hitting the create button, you will be able to create a new timetable for the desired period. So again, on selecting the batch from here, you will be able to get the class timings or the basic skeleton as per the choices that you have made on this class timing set. Again, if you want to add some teachers to this, you can just select upon this particular cell like this. So you need to drag upon the name here, and then on clicking there, all these teachers who have this will be available, or all the cells that you selected up here will be reserved for the period social and teacher Radha, who will be teaching up the particular subject in them in those institutions or in those batches. So the next thing would be to go to this work allotment and see upon what works have been allotted to this particular teacher. So basically, whenever we do this employee subject association, we can assign multiple teachers to a particular subject. But here you will be able to create only single teacher to a particular subject. So that was all about how this work allotment works up. But basically we will be also getting this deficit and the remaining classes for each of these teachers against it here. So then we have this view tables where you'll be able to view the timetables from a particular date range to another, and then the teacher's timetable is the one where you'll be able to see the timetable of the teacher from the selected range. So let us suppose the 1 week selected is so. As per this timetable, social will be taught by Radha on every Monday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. in this timetable range. So that's how this timetable or the teacher's timetable can be viewed up. The next thing would be to use this timetable tracker where you'll be able to assign a substitution class to any of your teachers available. Like let us suppose you want to mark a swap time or swap a timetable for the batch IVA 2014 for the date so if you would find some data regarding it here, you'll be able to swap the timetable for those periods. So moreover, this swap timetable period can also be seen up in the swap timetable report from here, and you'll be able to get all the details of the teachers who have swapped the timetable with someone or the other for some feasibility. So here you'll be able to see like the teacher Anthony, who from the cartoons department is given two less subjects or has been replaced twice by some other teacher. So as you can see, the details regarding would be seen up here: the date, the time, and the teacher who replaced the particular teacher. So you will be able to see the details regarding the same using this timetable tracker button. And then the next thing is to go to this attendance part. So this attendance can be used up from this quick links again, and here we have two links like the attendance register and the attendance report. So the attendance register will start off with select a batch from here, and then you need to select the batch along with the subject. So since it's subject or attendance, you need to select the subject here, or on selecting the exact subject you'll be able to get the register, and you'll be able to see how a student's um, absentees can be marked up. So again, it would just look like a real register, just the way we did for the employee register. And then the next thing would be to see this employee attendance report, where you'll be able to see the reports of all of your students based upon the selections that you make, whether it is a subject. So you need to select the subject from here, and then the mode, whether it's monthly or overall. And then on selecting the mode here, you'll be able to get the list of all the students who have scored a particular percentage of attendance. So furthermore, if you want to filter all the students who have scored less than 90% of attendance, you'll be able to get the same by clicking upon the particular percentage filter and the filter button. You can even get the PDF report of the same. So that's how the timetable and attendance can be dealt up. So now let's go to the exam module in detail. So we are left with the exam module and the finance module right now. So the exam module can be dealt up using this academics tab, and then going to this examination link from here. So just like any other module, you need to start up with the settings here, where you need to set up all the grading levels. So the grading levels can be set up using the set grading levels from here. You need to type the batch to which you want to add the grading level. So I'm selecting the batch, or you can even set it as common. So these grading levels will be available. So to add a grade, just click upon this add grades here, type the name and the minimum score, and then the description and the credit points. So you need to type the description and credit points from here for each of these grading levels, and then you will be able to add some grading levels like O, E, A, B, C, and C, O, E, A, B, C, D based upon the credit points that you have selected up here. So then we have this ranking levels, where you'll be able to make some ranking levels for your courses, for your batches. So to create a ranking level, you need to select your course first of all, and then make the ranking levels like this: failed, passed, or detained. So you need to have a set of details or rules like the marks and the limit type, the number of subjects, and the subject limit type. So let us suppose, for an example, we'll be dealing with the past ranking level. So every student who would get a mark which is at least 40% in at least 4 subjects will be able to get a ranking level as passed. So similarly, you'll be able to create some more ranking levels as the way we did it for here, and then you'll be able to create some class designations, where you'll be able to uh, make some class designations like first division, second division, and so on, based upon the marks that they have scored up. So the next thing after this examination would be to go to this exam management. So let's use this exam management. Clicking this exam management, you'll be able to select the course from here. So just select the course, type the name of the course from here. So on selecting the batch, you need to type the new exam group. So just click upon new here, type the name of the examination, and then the exam type, whether it's marks, grades, or marks and grades. You need to select the save button, and then examinations will be created. So you need to enter the start time and the end time for each of these examination subjects into it then, and on clicking this, you will be able to get a button where you'll be able to publish this exam schedule. So you need to publish exam schedule there, and then you need to publish the result from here, and then the details regarding the same will be sent via SMS to the students if at all the SMS settings has been used up. So that's basically how these examinations can be created up, and marks can be entered. So to enter marks again, as this is obviously to be done before the results has to be published, you need to go to this each of the examination and click upon the particular subject into which you want to add marks for, and then type on the marks for this. So similarly, you can type the marks for each of the students in this particular subject for this batch, and then you will be able to create some examinations and store details of these reports of or the results of the students. So once you have stored the details, you would like to see the reports of all of the students. So to see the reports, you need to click upon generate reports, type the codes here, and then on clicking generate reports, basically you will be updating the application to the latest marks that has been scored up by the institute. Then on clicking report center here, you'll be able to have access to all the varied kinds of reports that can be generated from the application. May it be the exam wise report or the subject wise report or the group exam wise report, and so on. So that is all about this exam timetables and so on. So now we are left with the last module, that's the finance module. So let's finish the finance module, and which would be the end of the webinar. So on clicking finance, you will be able to see this link which says fees. So let's click upon fees first of all and see what all we have in store for fees. So on clicking fees, you will be able to get this fees link. So let's start with the creation of fees. You can create the category from here, and then on clicking the create category, you need to type the name, the description, and then the batch to which this category is to be affected. So basically whenever we are creating this category, we are allowing the application to have a empty template, and again on this empty template we are stuffing it with some particulars. So to stuff it with particulars, you need to click upon create particulars and type the name here and then the description, and then on clicking create using, you will be able to create some um, particulars based upon the selections made, and then on clicking the amount you will be able to create an amount for each of these particulars. So, and again you need to select the category to which this amount is to be reflected upon. So the next thing would be to create discount rate from here, and then if you want to add some fines you can even add so by clicking upon generate fines and typing the name of the fine name and the due date after which this fine will be available and what percentage, whether it's again percentage or it's an amount. So having created this fees, as I've said, like again this fees has a workflow. So first of all we create fees, we schedule the fee collection dates, and then we collect the fees from the students, and then we will be able to see the fee defaulters and the fee structure for any one of them. So again the next thing would be to go to the schedule fees here, and you will be able to click upon this, and on clicking create fee collection you will be able to create some fee collection dates for your students. So you need to type the category from here, type the fee collection name, type the fine which is to be applicable, and then the batch to which this thing is applicable to. So on clicking this you'll be able to see this fine, or you'll be able to schedule a fee collection. So the next thing would be to collect the fees. So collection of fees is again of two types. It can be fee submission by course, or it can be fee submission for a student. So to click upon fee submission by each course, you need to click upon this batch and select the fee collection date, and then you will be able to cruise upon any one of the students from here, and then on selecting pay fees you will be able to pay the fees for the particular student. So again the next workaround to pay the fees is to use this fee submission for a student, where you will be able to type the name of this student, and on clicking the name you will be able to get the list of all the fee collection dates that are due against him or her, and then you will be able to pay the fees which is not paid by the person. So as you can see that the fee collection date is paid by this person. So the last one is March collection, which is yet to be paid. So if if a fee is not paid yet, it would be showing like pay fees, or clicking pay fees, this particular fees will be paid up. So that's basically how this fee collection date works up, the fee submission works up, and then if you want to see the fee defaulters, you'll be able to click upon fee defaulters from here and select a course, type the batch here, and then the fee collection date to which it is applicable to. So on selecting a particular course and then the batch, you will be able to get the list of all the students who have not paid the fees as per a fee collection date selected. So that's all about how this fee collection can be done. Further we'll be able to how this fee defaulter can be seen up. Further we'll be able to make some fee refunds using this fee refunds link, and the fee imports will help you to assign some fees to all of your students. So that's basically all about this fees link. So now let's jump up onto this category where you'll be able to create some different So finance from here, and then we will be able to create this finance category. So let's create a finance category like this. Create finance category, which will pop up a light box, and then type the category name, and then as I said, you need to type the whether it comes under income or expense. So after making the required selection, you can go to this transactions part where you will be able to record your expenses and incomes in this respective link. So to again record an expense, so normal expenses like the salary or the fees or the applicant registration will be recorded of its own. But if there is some other expenses that is not done automatically, so you need to record any of your expenses like this, like the title, the description, the amount, and then the date, and then the select category. Moreover, you will always be able to see this expenses from here, expenses, and on clicking upon the particular date here, you will be able to select these expenses list. So that's how basically this expenses can be dealt up. Similarly, you can even add the incomes also to record an income. So again, we will be able to make some donations if you want to do so. So again, we have this automated transactions where you will be able to make some transactions automatically based upon the prefixed percentage made. So then we have this employee payslip where you will be able to approve the payslip of a person whose payslip has been raised up by the person in charge of HR. So here you'll be able to see that as you are seeing that all the persons except this Ismatullah, everyone's payslip has been approved up. So again, to approve this person's payslip, you can go to approve, or you can even reject it or click upon the PDF report to get the PDF report of the same. So on clicking approve, you will be able to type a remark for it, and then on hitting submit button, this payslip will be accepted. So that's basically how these payslips can be added up. Then we have this finance reports where you'll be able to see all the finance reports for the same. So like let us suppose you want to see the finance report from Jan 1 till today. So you need to click upon Jan here and 1, and then on clicking display report, you will be able to get the transactions view or the reports from here. So again, to get further details about this thing, you need to click upon this reports from here, and then you will be able to see all the reports for a particular salary account, and then the department to which this reports has to be performed. And again, the report that you are seeing here would not only be a graphical report, would not only be a statistical report, but it would also be a graphical report of the same. So the highs would represent the incomes, and the lows would represent the expenses. So that's how this finance and the transactions can be dealt up in Fedina. Further, we are left with a couple of small modules like the events and the news. So you can even create some events here by clicking upon comments to the news that has been created. So this is all about this events part that I was telling you, and then the news can be reached up from here like this. And then if you want to add some news, you will be able to search the news event and add the news. So all the news related to campus can be stored in here. So that is all about today's webinar on the core modules. We would be dealing with the queries but we would like to thank everyone for being a part of it and listening to it. Thank you everyone. So now let's get started with the query round.